أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين يا رب العالمين marka ugu horeysa waxaan u mahadcelinaa ilaahay na kulmiyey alxamdulilaah kulligeen wixii aan sheegi doonana waxaan ku sheegayaa kaliya inaan waalid ahay anigu dhakhtar maahi oo cilmigan bartay waxaan rabaa inaan dadka muslimiinta oo dhageysanaya inaan la qaybsado un aniga wixii ku saabsan oo arrimaha autism-ka ah marka taas macnaheeda ma aha waxaan sheego dhan waa wax sax ah ama loo qaadan karo biyo kama dhibcaan oo biniaadamka waa iska dhib badan yahay taas marka qaraarteyda markaan saas uga gudbo waxaan rabaa inaan si toosa u galo barnaamijka maanta waxaan rabaa inaan diiradda saaro kow autism-ka horta muxuu yahay sharciid hadda markuu na president gareynaye xanuun buu ku sheegay alxamdulilah wax walba ilaahay ku keeno waa wax fiican oo lagu shukriyo oo aan lahayn dhib laakiin inta hadda la ogyahay autism-ka waa xaalad markaan leeyahay wax kale maaha waa wax qofku uu la noolaanayo taasoo ay keentay arrin ku dhacday qofka maskaxdiisa markaan leeyahay maskaxdiisa subxaan allah arrin ku dhacday qofka maskaxdiisa siday u shaqaynayso oo ah wiring ama sida neurons waxa la yidhaha maskaxdeena ku jira oo informationka process gareeya kaas ayaa ka duwan kan dadka aan ku tilmaano caadiga ah horta waa intaas autism-ka si kastaba ha ahaatee autism-ki isagoo oo saasa ayuu haddana kala duwan yahay oo autism-ka waxaa la sheegay in uu leeyahay noocyo kala duwan isku sina qofka u aafayn xitaa ilaahuma hooyo iyo aabbo isku dhalaan qofka laba qof taas waxay keenaysaa marka in dadkii aysan ku baraarugin waxaan aan ka sheekaynayo oo ah adiga haddaad tahay waalid waxa ugu horeeya oo lagaa rabo waxa waaye inaad fahamtid ilmahaaga see ku fahmaysaa markay yar yihiin waxaa laga yaabaa ilmo badan inaysan heerkii laga rabay developmentiga aysan gaarin waxay leeyihiin ma maqli karno dad badan oo ila soo xiriiraya hal daqiiqa isiiya raalli ahaada هذا هذا ما لي مقلع هذا واسكو دارك راوي ورمانتا وما تنتين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته مقعيق وهاشم دعالي إن وحن أدوم هاد علنا يا مسجد الفرقان أو مانتا سو دياري lecture kan yar oo ku saabsan parenting-ka iyo autism-ka inshallah I will try my best my English is not the best I'm not a native like you guys downstairs inshallah I'll try to do both English and Somali same time first and foremost autism is a condition it's not a disease that's we need to establish that when we say disease some of the things that we know about disease is that we have cures, whether it eliminates that disease, all of it, or it helps you to live a better life, whether it's diabetes, whatever it is that your disease is. But in autism, when we're talking about autism is a condition meaning that it is a way that the person will live the rest of their lives. And I can be challenged when I say that because many parents and many other people are trying to be hanging on to hope. And the hope is something good that people wanting to hold on to it. But it is my belief and I'm talking the prospect of a parent. I'm neither doctor nor nowadays we have a lot of people who call themselves coaches and consultants and all that just to attract people to be listened. The reason you need to be listening, at least the little bit I know about autism, is that I have a child. He's 25 years now, and through his life, I lived with autism. We breathe with autism. And we, as a family, come to know the autism in that way. So whatever I am telling you today is about simply making sure that I share the experience that I have on the subject. Okay, that's the first bit to make sure that, what I'm saying. Haddaan af Soomaali yar ku sheego waxaan ka hadlayaa maanta waa autism waxaanan ka hadlayaa sidii anuu waalid ah dhakhtar maahi qof cilmi soo bartay oo autism-ka walow aan NHS-ka u shaqeeya laakiin NHS shaqadaydu maaha dhakhtar ama clinician waxaan afka qalaad lagu yiraahdo autism cudur maaha waa waxa ugu horeeyaan rabaa inaan si fiican u sheego oo cudur dawa lagu siin oo waa ka wada daawoobaysaa ama dawadii waxay ka caawinaysaa inaad la noolaato cudurkii ama ha noqdo diabetic ama wax kale ha noqdo taas macnaheedu waxay tahay in aan ahayn autism cudur autism waa xaaladaas marka xagee ka timid aan si fiican intii laga yaqaano sayniska aan ku laabano waxay ka timid arrin ku saabsan habka maskaxdu ay isugu gudbiso information gathering ayaa ka duwan habka dadka aan ku tilmaano normalka taas macnaheedu maxay tahay marka waa habkaas ay maskaxdooda ilaahay u sameeyey ayay uga duwan yihiin dadka kale autism-ka marka laba qof oo autism leh isku si uma aafeenin kaasna waa wax kale aan rabaa inaan dadka maaha qofkii diabetic-ga ahaa oo type 1 ama type 2 same symptoms ay lahaayeen oo same pills loo qoraayay kan autism-ku ka duwan ilaahumay hal qoys isku dhalaan oo isku hooyo isku aabba ahaadaan taas waxaa la rabaa in ay dadka horta aad u fahmaan waxa kale oo aan ku darayaa intaas waxa waaye stageyada uu qofku maraayo waalidka ah marka loo sheego. Cabdixamiid wuxuu faray inaan ingiriis ku hadlo markaan Soomaaliba ku hadlo, marka waxaan isku dayi doonaa qodobkii aan sheegaba inaan ingiriis ku sheego. intaas hore markaan ingiriiska aan Soomaaliga ku sheegay, bal haddana qodobkii labaad ingiriiska aan u gudbo. I said in my opening remarks that autism is condition, and two people are never the same, even if are the same family. So what we need to learn about autism is that it is individual. The person, however it's affecting, it is not a common. It's not like a diabetic. Yes, it's not like a diabetic that a person will have diabetes type 1 or 2, and the people will have same situation, like they will be prescribed same medication and all that, and they will show same symptoms. Whereas the autism is different. It is individualistic, and it is depending the person who lives with it. That's another thing that I need to make sure that parents understand. Because most of the time, people will compare two different people who live with autism, and that's not fair. You cannot have same expectation two people. That is something I need to be very much understood by the community, so that you cannot make a comparison. You cannot say, my daughter or my son speaks this and this, so your daughter or your son should be reaching that. No, you can't. You cannot do that. If something that they tell you to do, whether it is a clinician and they prescribed, or they make sure that you follow individualistically that. But if I come here and share with you how my son gets his lessons when he's sitting down with his teachers, when the speech therapist comes, when occupational therapist comes, and then I come here and repeat those things to you, it should not work for you. No, it is not, because everyone should be assessed in merit. It should be assessed by clinician. It should be assessed by someone who know what they're talking about. That's another point that I would like to make sure. Comparison is not fair on our children. The other thing that autism is to be understood is that there are challenges that the individual might have, and there are points that this person will excel more than others. When I say that, people will laugh, because many autistic people in this world who we know now, after they themselves share with us, is that they excel what they have done, and they contributed to this world better way. And it's not one, it's not two. Their focus in whatever they are focusing on is their weapon. They can be better than anyone with that focus. And if it is harnessed early stage, can be really something that the children will have a future with it. And I repeat that. If you see many white folks excelling in many things, it doesn't mean that they are more able than the African or the Somali children or Arab children. Simply, early age, they understood what their child is capable, and they helped with it. I give you an example. the gentleman who owns Tesla, Elon Musk, he's genius in what he does, which is razor focus on the computing in trying to get things done. And why? Because when he was young, he's telling himself, it's not me telling, he used to be bullied, he never fit into the school, but his parents understood what he was good at it, which is the computing. And they give him all the tools that he needed. And most of the things that he has done, he learned by himself. Which means they used that focus an early age as a child, that habit, and developed something that he's now is one of the richest, if not the richest man on earth. And they protected, because he had a lot of shortcoming, which means he used to be bullied, he used to be called names. They protected him, all those things, yet they give him the chance to excel in what he was good at it. And that's something we need to understand as parents, because we're missing big genius in our community, because we over-focus on their shortcomings rather than trying to find their vocation and nurture it. That's something really that bothers me a lot when I see. You will see a child that is very excellent in high school, very excellent in college, and yet the first hurdle they hit, and because, believe you me, all the autistic children, they will have burnout situation. I will talk about that later. Burnout situation, especially the puberty, and when the change they cannot handle. And that's when we find our children losing. You will see children that were good in math, science, other things, or brilliant in subjects like history. They could memorize, hold the book, and talk to the teachers next day. All that was science that they were giving us. Yet, some of them we forced to do something else, which means, no, you need to take this or that, or this holistic approach that now the education is taking. Once they understand that the child is living with autism, they are allowed to choose the subjects that excel. And that's something else that we, the parents, need to know about those blessings these children have. My other point, and later on I will take the questions, is that we have huge stigma around autism in our community. And that really bothers me a lot. Because as a society, excuse me those who wanted me to speak Somali, because the majority, I was told, speak English. So instead of repeating myself today, I will be focusing on one language, English. It's not my forte, but I will try to make it. The stigma in our community, that is something that I really like, especially sitting here in the masjid, that the masajids need to come on board to educate our community. Because I don't blame a mother who doesn't want to show their children out. I can't blame her. But who I will blame? I will blame the society who is so cruel to put that mother or father into that pressure where they can even show their children out. Not because they don't want us to see them, but we will talk about them in bad way. And for them to fit in the society, the best way they know is to hide their children, and this creates suffocation to the child. Because if a child adopts in only home and stays home, they will not learn a lot about how to socialize, how to be in the society. All that it's learning. For them, it's learning. And if we deprive that, not the mother or the father and the mother wanted to be part of the society. And our society is so cruel that they don't want to give a chance to these parents. That's something I really, really want whole society, all of us, to come and make sure that we do something about it. Because a child who's now 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, you can keep them. You can just make sure that you can handle them. But that 2 years old child will become 20. What are you going to do then? Can you handle a 30, 25, 20 years child that's very powerful? You can't, and you cannot keep them at home. Because the society put you in that situation. I would like us to open our eyes and make sure that those parents are helped, whether it is in institutions like the masjids, the community centers. We need to make sure that this stigma is, there is no way that you can justify. There is no way that you can exclude our society, the people who need us most, exclude them. They fear themselves not to bring their own children. That's a crime to me that we are doing against this group. And I would like that to stop. And how we can stop? Lectures like this in the masjids, debates, and also to focus on how we can change. How we can change, I can give you 2 tips. If you see a mother that is struggling, she's your friend or your cousin, you can go to her house and try to understand the life she's leading, and then help her to go out and have at least time for herself or for other kids. That's one way of helping, real help. How else you can help? You can help to advocate for them if they don't speak the language, and go with them when they have got an appointment with the GB, with the schools, with everyone. That's another way of making sure that if this child and these parents are struggling, you are there for them. The other way is also to find in the society who are these people. For most of us, they're hidden. And not by choice. It is by condemnation from the society. So I challenge all of us to go out and find those people who are in need, and they needed our help now. And our help is simple, by asking them what I can do for you. And then they will open up for you and tell you what help they need from you, rather than them making their child prisoner at home. That's one other point that I could talk about all day, but I'll stop there. The other thing is the situations when the first time that a parent are told that their child has autism, diagnosis time, they go 3 levels. The first one is shock. Shock, because they tell you something that you do not know, and they are very much cruel, how they are giving this information, because you suspected that there was some delays about your child, and you were hoping so much that this doctor tells you what it is that your child and how you can help. But the first time when they tell you this is autism, this is lifelong condition, your child will be in this, and nothing you can do about it. It's a shock that many parents will go. that shock for many parents can be long, and it comes again as denial. They will say, oh, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. But yes, we are human. We can deny things. We can have hopes. But what you can do is to make sure that you have second opinion. If you see that this person, you don't agree with them, their word is not the final. You can go to other professionals and ask a second opinion so that at least that denial that you might think in your head can come to end. That's another phase that we go through. Shock, denial. The last phase is the phase that I call very cruel, and it could be longer. It is a phase where the parent go to depression. They will go into contemplating and thinking what has caused the autism. It is me who gave my child what they have. Where did it come from? Is it something that a curse or something that came to me? And all that, it is self-incrimination process that goes to the minds of the parents. I think it is human to ask all these questions, but there should be a time where the parent, especially us Muslims, this is Allah's qadr, it happened to me, how can I move on? You have to have that cut. If you don't cut that, and you still blaming yourself or blaming somebody or blaming whoever it is that you think is causing this autism, you're not going anywhere. You just get prisoner on your own thoughts, and that's very dangerous. Not because I want to condemn those parents, but they do not know better. There is no programs that help in the community that we're living here in West. The first thing they give is leaflets, and they say support group is there, the other group is there. So the parent will go out actively and try to find out experienced parents who will talk to them through, who will tell them what they've been through and all that. At least they will get that support. But in our community, we don't not have that support. Actually, we have the opposite. I spoke about it earlier, which is the stigma. So a parent that was in that situation, if we stigmatize, they will go underground, simply. And that continues for years. Because as long as they can manage the child, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, the time passes. And we are losing good time where these parents should be helped and this child should be helped. What I'm saying is every autistic person has got challenges, as I said, and they have got potentials. Those challenges, if we concentrate on it and help early age, this is the word that I would like to put it underscore, early age, we have a better position that this child will lead a very fruitful life, very fruitful life. And that's something we do not think as parents. Why we don't think? Because the society put us in a difficult position, stigma. This blaming us for whatever our child has, which is normal, continuous, and yet now the fourth thing that comes is we become a witch hunt. Doctors are among us. People who give false hope. People who bring pills and say, look, so-and-so was 100% cured by autism, and I can give you. And when you're a parent and you The hope is something that you look for it. And we now spend a lot of money into those false hopes. And what really worries me is that our own are making commercialized way of giving false hope these parents. I'll give you an example. Someone will say, look, your child has got a lot of chemicals in them, and the detoxification things is happening. Okay, I understand, but who are you to tell me that? No, I'm a coach. The word that I really nowadays like, and you can see all in social media. Coach this, coach that. This coach, are they certified? They've been through any formal training? What they are selling or coaching, who can guarantee? Because every profession, the doctors, if they make a mistake, there is GMC, you can go and make a complaint about whatever they give you. If it is a nurse, they have got their own body that you can go after. If they are occupational therapists, still they are there and you can check. If they are speech language therapists, there is a profession and you can go after them if they make mistake. But if I call today myself Coach Hashim Douale and have a credential and go to AI and create good videos, people will think, oh, this man knows. And that's illusion. And that illusion makes really bad. The benefits that these parents have are going into wrong hands. People who will sell to them vitamin B12 that they bought from Costco or other big stores. They are putting into small bottles and they send to them and say, this is a miracle medication. Some of them, and it happens here in the West as well, they are selling to what they call duhgel, a bone marrow of camel. I don't mind if that bone marrow was fresh and the person who's using is close to where it was produced. It's food at the end of the day. Food can be eaten. I don't mind at all. But when someone puts in a jar and brings here in West, who guarantees where those things been? And do you really understand how it is dangerous to give your child something that is not controlled? But yet, we are brave as parents. Everyone who tells us some hope, we follow them. And we think it is something that can help us. Those are people who are doing really damage to the parents of autistic children. And they are among us. They're in TikTok. They're in everywhere. Some of them, they come to blame. And I'll do that, my last point, to blame parents themselves for their children being autistic. One of the TikTokers, she was blaming, literally, parents. And she was saying, now the people who are getting married, especially ladies, they need to prepare themselves not to have kids with autism. And I said, okay, you might find the science behind this, what it is. No, they need to make sure this and this and that. And she's just trying to find not the parents now that have autistic children, but she wants to market herself to the ladies who are now getting married and saying, don't go unprepared in your pregnancy without talking to me. And I said, wow, who's this person? And the title they have is coach, consultant, coach or consultant. And then they will do 3 letters, CBS, CSC, OEC. Those courses you can get online if you want, and it's waste of money, most of them. And yet, that person thinks they are expert, and they're putting astray the community. What works is simple. It's early intervention. What we mean by early intervention is this. Early intervention is knowing the challenges of the child. Do they have problems in sleeping? Do they have problems in feeding? Do they have problems in speaking? Do they have problem in socializing? When you get that, what it is, and we're living in a West, your GB is the first point of call. As parent, all you need is to have a journal. You write what is happening to your child, when it is happening, how it is happening, the duration of it. If you can be very investigative, you can understand what was happening before my child get into this position and what happened after that. How long it take? Is it nighttime? It is that time of the day. What I was doing, what was happening in the house. So when you have all that information, you can go to the professionals. I'm talking about proven professionals, which are really here in the West. You do not need what I call witch doctors who are claiming themselves they have the solution without even seeing your child. What makes me sad and mad is that they don't even see this child and they are ready to prescribe something from their store and send to them. And I don't blame the parent. The parent is the last person. We need to help them as much as we can because they are hanging on to hope. So I'm not blaming the parent. Who I'm blaming is those of us who know better. Those of us who are seeing these parents as easy prey, who are making money off people, are those who I really, and we need to look at them wherever they are. Those are. Coming back to a point about how you help. Yes, the child might have difficulty in sleeping. They might have difficulty in going to toilet. They might be getting sensory issues like closing their ears or not responding well to the lights and all that. All that is something that you can, or sometimes they are sensible for certain food. If they smell, they might not. It triggers them, and it's very bad for them. Sometimes the odors like perfumes or attar, something that we use all our houses, or unsi, it might trigger. So let's understand exactly the smells. What was the smell of the house when before this child goes to this situation? Find out. One of the ladies that I used to talk to, she says, whenever my child sees me putting hijab, he goes mad and tries to rip off my hijab and all that. She couldn't understand why. Because when she's at home, she's with her family and with her children. She doesn't need to cover, right? But what he find out is when she puts the hijab, she's going. So he wants to prevent her to go out. Simple as that. But he can't communicate that. He cannot say, where are you going? Why are you leaving me behind? All he knows is If she gets the hijab, she walks away and she goes. And that is something we parents need to investigate why it's happening and when it's happening and how we can communicate, even if they are not verbal. Preparing is everything. One of the people who I talked to he saw me preparing my son for summer holidays. He hates airplane. Many people hate airplane. Not because there are many people who have phobia in life, and autistic people are part of it. He doesn't like traveling, but I can't force him to go flight without preparing. So what I do, I'll explain. 5-6 months I put, and they saw that video saying, what are you doing? I saying, look, it's part of negotiation. He better know what's coming so that he mentally prepares himself so that when we go to the airplane, I'll explain that I can help him, I'm there for him. And he's been airplanes because he remembers from his past experience, and that makes him also anxious. But what I'm doing is simple. 6-7 months before preparing for that. So preparation is everything. If people are visiting the house, since he knows only the family, if additional person comes, that for them is change. So dropping off someone that you didn't tell, for example, when I'm talking to Ismail, I'll tell him, Abdi Hamid will come today, and if I have the picture of Abdi Hamid, I'll say, Abdi Hamid is coming at that time, please welcome him. He's the first one who will welcome you. But if you just unattended, just come to me, and he sees me get occupied with this other person, they will say, why not me? Why this person is more important than me? That's the only thing they were doing. They're communicating with us that situation. But yet, we don't understand. We just drop some of the things that I explained to the parents is autism. Now, we only call it autism. It used to be level 1, level 2, level 3. But now, to make the point, even as Burgess 1, which is one of the high functions, now they take off that name, and all of them, they are autistic, with whichever level. I think that's good protection, because instead of putting one against each other, now they are in one group, and that group is large. That's why it's called a spectrum, that everyone is fitting somewhere. The other thing then, knowing where your child's weaknesses are, or challenges as I call, and where his strength is. The strength is something that we can build on. We don't understand that. I never ever, for example, one of the things that I keep telling people is that if the child doesn't speak, it doesn't mean that they cannot communicate. The speech is one way of communication, but you have to develop ways of understanding your child. Nowadays, there are picture exchange method. There are apps that are on everywhere. But understand exactly how your child can use the technology to show you, to talk to you about what they need. And most of it is also because you are, and this is where I am getting at, you, the parent, are the expert of your child. Any professional who's walking with you is only helping. But you, who's the professional, if you cannot express the information you have about your child, it's your loss. Because you don't expect the expert to put your child in somewhere and understand exactly what they have and read their mind. They can't. What we need is that way of being the expert and making sure the child, you understand your child and you can communicate their needs. You can understand when they're not well. You can understand. Many of the things that nowadays is very important. People will tell you there is gut problem. People will tell you there is a deficiency here, deficiency in that. You are in the West. Go and check. Pay even money to find out if there is a deficiency in vitamins or if there is much what they call nowadays, and I hate to say this, heavy metals in your blood. Are you psychic? Did you treat this child without checking anything? You are saying to the parent that this child has got heavy metals. How you figure out that? Do you have a laboratory where you take their blood and find out that this child has got heavy metals more than his siblings or anyone else? How you come to that conclusion? That's another sad thing that's happening. But as a parent, you can go to privately to laboratories and A to Z what's wrong with your child. You can even take their feces and check in laboratory if there's a gut bacteria or whatever they're telling you nowadays, which is something that I lost it when anyone comes up with new thing to sell to the parents. As anybody else, they might have gut problem. They might have diabetes. They might have anything else on top of autism. But whatever you are saying, if you just put it on autism, it's not fair on them. Check. And autism itself, there are many conditions that can follow. You will see many children who are autistic, who are epileptic, same time. You will see children who are autistic who has also ADHD. You see children who are autistic who also have learning difficulties. Those are the things that we don't ponder over. Everything we put it on the case of autism. That's not fair on the child. We're asking too much of this child. So let's find out more than autism, what my child has. And you can discuss with the health care people who are looking after your health. All you need is to present, I'm talking directly to the parents now, to present ways of recording what you are seeing on your child. You are the expert of your child. And this person in front of you, you have to explain what you are seeing. You have to be able to communicate what you are observing. If you cannot do it, use your mobile, record it. For example, they going very angry if you do something at any given time. What exactly they are doing is important to show the health professionals. Are they harming themselves? Are they running away from you? Are they hitting themselves? Are they trying to hit you? All that is something that we need to communicate. Most of us, we are afraid. We'll say, oh, if my child hits me or run away from me, they might take away from me. No, nobody is there to catch you because they don't know where to put them. All you need is to explain what is happening in your home. I'm not saying come to social media and talk about it and tell everyone you see on the street. That information needs to be shared with the healthcare people in very detailed way. Make a journal, write it down. That's the best way that you can be helped. The other thing is that don't make your child a guinea pig. And I started by saying that if I have headache, I can ask Abdulhaki to give me a paracetamol. Fair enough. Headache, fine. But whatever worked for me, and if you come to my home and say, look, what Ismail is taking, even if I give it to you, it won't work for you. Two people are never the same who have autism. They are different in many ways. So find out your child. You know already. You do not need someone in the social media sitting and explaining to you and telling about your child who lives with you the minute that your child was born until now you were nurturing them. You are the mother, you know. So how on earth someone else comes and tells you about your child and gives you an advice to take these things? My last point before I take questions is what causes the autism? That's a big question. But I have an answer. Those of us who already have autistic children, it's a question that we do not need to entertain. We are already on the boat. What causes, it already caused. And our child is already autistic. Trying to find out, you go back to the blaming yourself, you go back to thinking, you go back to that depression again, instead of helping your child. That boat is already sailed. We are on it. So how best we can do well for our children is to make sure we give the best ever possible way that our child can overcome the challenge they have and nurture those are the two things that parents need to think. What are the challenges? How can I help to take away those challenges from my child? What they are good at it, that I can nurture so that they can be better. So my answer to what causes or not causes autism is simple. Nobody can tell you. The science cannot tell you. Many of you will blame the mother, and they say it is genetic. No, it is something that happened, trauma, when it's the pollution. It is this, it is that. I don't have time to spend on thinking. I'm not a scientist. I don't have an institution, universities. I don't have a fund to find out. But what I cannot tell you, or nobody can tell you for fact, some of you will blame a MMR, a job that the children early age, at age of 2, or they take this country. And they say, a doctor said that. But now he's been struck from, because he produced false evidence. And yet again, for example, I give you an example. Ismail has siblings, and they were born in the same hospital. We give them same thing. So, and I also know my friends that would never give MMR their children. And even if you are afraid of it, giving same time all these three, you can go to private and give it one by one at your own pace. But please don't kill your child giving rubella, mumbles. Those are the killers, diseases that kill, and there is no evidence that the vaccination has caused. The other thing that nowadays they start telling, and it is very controversial, and I will say, because I'm sitting in Allah's home, I'm sitting in a masjid, many who are claiming to be ulama are coming into it as well. And that's really bad. And I ask the real ulama to stand up to those people who are really, really praying onto people who are, and the religion is something that we hold dearly. Sheikh tells me this, it must be right. But those are not sheikhs in my books. Someone who blames a mother saying, oh, this child, when they were born, if we don't see any sign in their head making it is some jinn or something has happened to them, or I cannot repeat. I'm sitting in a masjid. I really get frustrated what they claim and try to tell these parents. Those are not ulama, and I ask the real ulama to stand up for them and make sure they do not put astray already overwhelmed parents. That's something that it's not fair on us, parents of autistic children. It's not fair. We have enough on our plate, but the other people who are real ulama need to stand up to those who are really, really putting astray to this. And they not only taking the little monies these people have, they are blaming them, saying you might be the cause that your child has autism. Subhanallah, how on earth they can justify some claim like this? How on earth they can claim that they have seen jinn or whatever it is that they are now telling and blaming a mother who's already overwhelmed with her child's condition? Last but not least is to make sure, especially people who are in the West, to find out if there are other conditions on top of autism, whether it is ADHD, whether it's epilepsy, whether it is, nowadays, I'm not sure, UK already find out what's called BDA, pathological demand avoidance, which means whatever you say to the child to defend themselves, they say no, because they want to be safe. And the way they are, whatever you are asking, they know that it's something they need to try, and they don't want to take that chance. So it's called pathological demand avoidance, and many other things that health professionals can help you. If I come here or someone comes here and try to diagnose your child, they are lying to you. They are lying to you. They only want to take your money or whatever it is. They sit here to call themselves coach or this or that, and anyone who cannot see your child cannot diagnose. And diagnosis is the last thing. There are a lot of doctors who will not dare to give a diagnosis until they have a full picture. That's why sometimes it takes longer in giving diagnosis, not because they don't want to, but because they don't have enough evidence to say ultimately this person is this person is autistic or not, because they can't reach that threshold to say this person has autism or ADHD or any other condition. And that's something I really need to explain. You don't see a child who has got a speech delay and you come to the parent and say, they might be autistic. Who are you to say that? Speech delay can happen to anyone. People who spoke at the age of 10, 11, 20, but they were not autistic. Okay, you will see someone who's struggling in many ways. It's not always autistic. Find out the real and go to the real professionals before you make the decisions about your child. And please do not trust anyone who you see selling lies. Sometimes the lies can be sugar-coated as a solution for you, but at the end of the day, They are lies, and these people, all they need is your money. All they need is to make money on you. They don't care about your child. Don't be fooled about them. They don't care about anything else but their pocket, and they will do anything to sell it to you. And make sure, please, whoever they are, do not just get someone from internet and get their advice. That's criminal. Don't do it, please. I understand where you're coming from. As a parent, you have hope. You want to try everything, but don't become someone who use their child as a guinea pig. Even if you have a good heart, trying, but please stick with what we know, what is being proved scientifically, and don't lead a life where the child becomes a guinea pig to the science or whoever it is leading some research or trying. The other thing is a question that keep coming back, which is the Somalis have a lot of autism in the society? I can answer that question in frankness because we know each other. That's why you might know your neighbor has got a child with autism, and we talk about them as well. So remember when I start with it. So, but yet again, the people who we live with, the white people, they have got autism. You talk to the Sudanese now, the new community here in Leicester, they will tell you they are the only people who have autism. Name it. The autism cannot discriminate, will not discriminate. So us telling ourselves we are autistic or we have a lot of autism in our society, I think it's autism is not only for us. Autism is everything. Everybody is affected. You might say why it's more for everything. Yes, maybe the science evolved, the way that we diagnosis evolved. Fair enough. And then we have 20 years ago, we didn't know much about autism, and now the world knows. So more the people in the health know, more the diagnosis can become. So don't just single us out and say the Somalis have got all the autism, where prominent ulama made that mistake without naming them and claiming that I think it is something we need to grow out of it unless we put our bennies together and make proper research through the institutions like universities, and our young people who are coming out of university take as thesis, and they can sample cities like London or Minneapolis or Toronto and have always compare indigenous people and find out whether we are prone to autism ourselves only, or others also have autism. And what everybody will tell you is that yes, it's growing to all society. What causes, I cannot tell you. But my guess is that because the science is so progressing and we are making this more and focused onto diagnosis, that's why we have many people. I say too much. I will finish here today. If there are questions, I will answer that, and I will make sure people who are here have the priority of the questions. I cannot answer online. Thank you very much. Jazakumullahu khair. Good question, and I will answer a practical one. Yes, Sheikh Abdul Hamid asked me a good question. How can the masjids can accommodate families with autistic children and as congregation? Yes, I think it's something that we need to put on focus. I give you practical example. For example, if I want to pray and my son is with me, if there was a room somewhere here that I know it's guarded or at least closed, I can tell him, please don't move, stay here. I'm going to pray and I come back for you. What we can do, and it's practical, is that there are many volunteers in the masjid, especially ladies. The time that they're not praying is good time that they can give break to those parents and say, look, they know each other. It's that month that they are in. They can come and help. All we need is a space. All we need is ratio of 1 to 3. And if we can give that break to the parent who want to pray Jum'ah or who want to pray Salat al-Eid, that's a bonus. But with coordination with the volunteers. And the volunteers can do that brilliant job to look after the child while the parent is praying. The other thing is also, when the masjid is not being used into its capacity, there are many youngsters who are now out of the education, post 16, and they do not know where to go. The parents don't have a lot of money to put them into social clubs or have people to look after. If those parents can come together and at least socialize themselves and have a space with provision of some more volunteers where they can themselves feel, supported, that will be good. And if I know, for example, Masjid al-Furqan, Wednesdays or Thursdays, they have that quiet time that I can go with my child and meet other parents as well, and volunteers will be there, then it will be also good feel factor of the parent. They come out of the house that they are so much preoccupied with the child alone, and they will find people like them. They will find people who are there to help, volunteers who show really. That's another way of doing it. The other thing is also there are many youngsters who are verbal, who are very brilliant. If we can find specialized teachers to teach the Deen, teach the Quran, younger they are, better is. But because they run around, the madrasa will say, no, we cannot handle, please take your child. Even if it is 1 day a week, if that trial can happen, and we can train, we the parents can train your teachers. All they need is special techniques to calm them down when they are all over the place. And the first or 3 sessions, the first 3 test sessions, parents can be around just to support the child. When the child sees their parents, they know, because some of the autistic people, they are mistrusting everyone else. And they trust only their parents and they know. So until that trust comes, we cannot live with the teacher. So the teacher, when they know that he's there and someone who's not harming, someone who's there to, they can start doing it. So it's long shot, but it's worth trying. And younger they are, better is. One other question that I always ask is diagnosis. Why it's taking too long? It takes too long because the NHS is what it is. But nowadays, you can not wait until the diagnosis had happened. If you see that your child is struggling at school, you can talk to the local government and say, we cannot wait until this child gets ECHP plan. What we need is proper school. What we need is this and this. But you have to be vocal. Parents need to be told, and the organizations that work with the community need also be trained how to help the families with autistic children. Jazakumullah for listening, and everything I said which is not correct. Su-aasha su'aal fiican waaye oo ku saabsan who can I trust with my child. Community adiga kala baqday gaal se ugu dhiibay ma fahamtay gabadhaas meeshii ka soo baxday. laakiin waxaa muhiim ah lacagahan yararka oon haysano inaan ayaga ku bixino. Gabadhaas waxay awooday private qofa inta keento guriga oo ayada ay lacag siisay oo inay just soo dirin oo shaqo ku lahayn. ku faham professionalski waka professionalska laftigooda hadaa ka baqaysid, the ones that you pay oo gurigaada kugu yimid waa jiraan. All you need to check is their inaa fiirisid credentialkooda, waxaanay sheegayaan ma barteen, dadkii horay u tijaabiyeen review maxay siiyeen. kaasoo kale marka gabadhaas gurigay ku bari kartay wax kastay rabto. Home schooling al dhaha, annaga ciyaalkeena aan rabin inaan iskoolka geyno. If still is never late. Weli waxay bilaabaysaa weekii 2 mar camal ayada xataa ka tababaranaysa technical kan la siinayo. laakiin gabadhaas waxaa bacda ku ridaa ku xiray ugu badan waxa waa annaga. qofkii waxa leeyahay ilmaha laga qaato qof hebela inta wax lagu sameeyay hebela inta ka baxay. waxyaabaha kale oo waalidka u sheega waxaa ka mid ah if you have a non-verbal child in any situation, maalin kasta markuu iskoolka ka imaado make sure inaad la fariisatid, aad fahamtid haddii distress iskoolka ka yimid baar jirkooda dhan. mar walba adigana waxaa samaysaa waxaan afka qalaad lagu yidhaha journal, buugaa samaynay oo yar alada saaka quraacdiisa waa soo cunay waa fiicnaa asoo faraxsan iskoolka u soo diray. macallimiintan waxaa ku qasbay inay ka soo jawaabaan waxa dhacay. maaha kaliya markuu incident dhaca kaliya in lagu sheego oo la yidhaha maanta cunugaa dharbaaxay ama waa kufay ama whatever. markaas lay waraaqaha soo qoraan laakiin markaan aad journalkan aad bilowdaan labadiina iskoolka iyo adiga adigana qaybtaada inaad qaadatid waayo subaxii saaki xalay si fiican u seexday waa quraacdiisa waa soo cunay dharkiisa waa xirnaa moodkiisa wuu faraxsanaa waa kaas ama way faraxsanayd intaasoo information markaas xitaa markay xalay seexanin oo kale haddaa u sheegto xalay hurdada ku yaree hadday maanta xanaaq badan yihiin waa u dul qaadanayaan waxay leeyihin okay xalay hurdada ka kharimaday cunugan waa loo naxariisanaa communicationkaasaa muhiima ayagiina waxaa ku qasbaysaa inay qaybtooda sameeyaan oo ay kuu soo qoraan weligaana ha ka baqan iskoolka inaad challenge garaysid haddaa ku aragtid jirkiisa xagtimo iyo waxaas ha ku istaagan keliya cunug kale isdileen go there adiga waxaa la rabaa afhayaankoodii inaad noqotid oo aadan qofna uga jixin taas intaasaan kusoo keenaa insha allah wixii aan qalad galay nafteyda iyo shaydaan waaye wixii ilaahay garansiiyaan uga mahad celinaya jazakum allahu khayr for listening alxamdu lilah